Hey everyone, welcome to episode 4, part 2, Understanding Self-Efficacy. This is the second part of what builds our self-concept. Now, self-esteem we knew about. We learned about that in the last video. But what is self-efficacy? It generally corresponds to the level of competence that an individual feels or has in themselves. Back in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was a big push to help kids with their self-esteem by doing things like not keeping score in sports and giving everyone a participation medal. We looked at Stuart Smalley in the video before. And what we're going to do in our second one is we're going to look at a social commentary called You Can Do Anything.
Hi, I'm Christina Nichols. I'm a photo blogger.
And I'm Roger Knight, an independent filmmaker.
And welcome to You Can Do Anything, the only show that celebrates the incredibly high self-esteem of the YouTube generation.
Because now, thanks to technology and everyone being huge pussies about everything, it doesn't matter if you have skills or training or years of experience. You can do it.
You can do anything.
While this helped kids feel better about themselves and helped improve or keep their self-esteem up, it downgraded their self-efficacy. They felt good, but they were unaware of their abilities or their need to improve.
So let's welcome our first guest, Liam Terry.
Hi everyone, I'm Liam Terry from liamterry.com.
You're so self-promotional, and everyone enjoys that.
Tell us, what will you be doing today?
I'll be juggling 10 bowling pins.
Oh, so you're a juggler.
Nope,
But you have juggled before.
never.
Then
you can do it.
I juggled!
You sure did. And now when people ask if you're a juggler, you can say yes.
Because I have no shame or self-awareness.
Okay, let's meet our next guest. Liam, you can leave or stay, whichever you'd like.
I'll stay because I'm full of unearned confidence.
That's great.
We'll dive more into this in a little bit. The word efficacy comes from the same word as efficiency or effective. Self-esteem helps determine our worth or value. Self-efficacy helps to determine our ability. How effective do we believe we are at a specific skill or task? But if you look at the greatest athletes, you'll find an interesting pattern in a lot of them. And we will just take two, Michael Jordan and John Stockton. Michael Jordan, the greatest of all time. John Stockton, one of the greatest point guards of all time. What do these two have in common? Well, they both had older brothers that would beat the tar out of them while they were younger. Michael Jordan's competitive comes a big part from his older brother, Larry, in wanting to beat him in anything he could. And when he finally could, his self-confidence rose. Check out this clip from John Stockton and his brother talking about growing up.
There were a lot of moments of bloody lips, pretty rugged battles that my parents seemed to ignore.
The games in the driveway were a lot of fun. They were a lot of fun for me early.
If I tried too hard to stop them, then I'd just get pushed into the fence or knocked down. And
the only rule was there were no rules. And if you made a bucket going to the hoop, you earned it and deserved it. They were pretty nasty.
Just as they pushed each other into the fence, we need to push ourselves and our children out of our comfort zones. Now, as we're being pushed out of those comfort zones, we need to be taught how to keep our self-esteem up at the same time. With that, getting rid of any negative self-talk and being willing to take those risks. John Stockton's parents did not tell him he was great in everything that he did, but they still expressed confidence in him in the underlying message. Compare these two clips.
Out of curiosity, how's your relationship with your parents?
Oh, it's great. They're my two best friends, and they always tell me I'm great at everything.
Oh, is that why you're so sucky and you don't realize it?
Probably, yeah.
I remember coming in crying a couple times, and my mom wouldn't even stop washing a dish. She'd just say, "Well, if he's too big, don't play with him." And Then I'd run out in the living room and see if Dad would do the same thing. And he said, don't go play with those big kids if they're too tough for you. And a few minutes later, I was out there pestering them again, trying to play.
What are the characteristics of high self-efficacy? There are 4 items on this one. Self-confidence. They approach tasks or situations with a sense of their ability to be successful. This self-confidence tends to lead to more experience with this increased success compared to this.
Liam, you can leave or stay, whichever you'd like.
I'll stay because I'm full of unearned confidence.
That's great.
They also have an accurate self-evaluation. They don't beat themselves up, but they also know where they stand, as compared to this.
Tell us about yourself.
I'm what you would call Twitter famous.
Meaning?
Not famous.
And I assume your self-esteem reflects that?
No. On the contrary, my self-esteem is through the roof because no one has ever been honest with me about how mediocre I am.
And what if someone were to be honest with you?
I would immediately cry.
And that's accepted now.
Number 3 is they have a willingness to take risks. They take risks because they understand that that's just part of the game. Reasonable risk can also increase self-efficacy, as compared to this.
I've never been punched. Never. Not once.
Number 4 is a sense of accomplishment. They are often more successful due to a willingness to take those risks and pursue their interests. Even if they fail or make mistakes, they can still have a sense of accomplishment in the journey, as opposed to this.
I went to a school with no grades.
Great work, Brad. Great work, Brad.
I tried, and therefore no one should criticize me.
Now, here's a question for you. As the Saturday Night Live skit shows, can you really have high self-esteem but low self-efficacy? Could you even have high self-efficacy and low self-esteem? Yes, you can. You can do that in both. Here's a clip you don't see much about Michael Jordan. Here he talks about having low self-esteem but high self-efficacy.
And are we really supposed to believe that Michael Jordan in high school couldn't get a date, no luck with girls, got cut from the varsity team? I mean, this is a sad story.
It sounds sad, but it's true.
No luck with girls?
You know, a lot of guys picked on me, and you know, they would do it in front of the girls.
What would they say?
Oh, they would joke about my haircut and the way that I played my tongue out. You know, just different things, and the girls would they would laugh at that. And right then, I was dead. I couldn't get a date with anybody.
Somebody said that you do your own vacuuming, sewing, house cleaning.
I always felt that I was going to be a bachelor.
That no one would marry you?
No one would marry me, and I ended up doing my cooking, my dishwashing, my clothes washing, my vacuuming, and my dusting. And, you know, these are things that I should do at home because we had chores to do at home. And I just grew accustomed to doing it myself. And because I live by myself, I can do it, and I don't mind doing it. The sewing part, I don't do quite as much anymore. Because I do it if I have to do a quick hem or something on my pants. It's a temporary hem. I know how to do that very easily. I don't have a sewing machine where I can put the hem in myself, but I don't mind doing it.
So let's look at how can self-efficacy be improved. And there are 6 items to assess. Number 1, pick a skill to develop. Most important way to improve self-efficacy is to develop the skill you need. Identify the area of deficit and determine what needs to be done. You can also ask others about your skill and your need to improve. That's how confidence develops. People aren't born with confidence. They have to learn and practice in order to become competent. Second is mastery experiences. If we help children set goals and push them through the hard emotions or doubts, then they will actually enjoy the end result and they'll want to do it again. Modeling is number 3. One way to learn the necessary skills is to observe others. This person can be real, or they can even be a fictional character. We just need to be able to see that someone is doing it and to know that we can do it ourselves. So pick a person to be like and then map out the characteristics that that person has, and then make sure that you use those characteristics in whatever situations you come up in. As parents, we need to be models for this, but we also got to be cautious on the lessons that we teach our kids. If we're always saying things like, I hate public speaking, or I don't like math, then we run the risk of teaching our kids to not like it either. When we model things for them, then they look up to us to be like us. Number 4 is social persuasion. Expressions of confidence to those around us is very helpful. We need to teach and we need to push people out of their comfort zones. Number 5 is focus on specifics. Allow people to give you specific feedback. Negative feedback is not necessarily bad. It's just not exactly what we wanted to hear. But we can also be careful and how we give that message. For instance, if you want a child to learn how to do dishes better, don't say things like, these dishes are clean. Say something like, hey, let me show you when and how to use this specific sponge. Teach them how to be able to do it, to be able to get their best result. Reinforcement. The more behavior is reinforced, the more likely it will continue. Focus on what you do well and allow others to give you specific praise. So when you get compliments, simply say thank you and move on. Don't do the demeaning, well, yeah, I could have done a little better about that or something like that. Go, thanks, and then move on. It's the best way to take a compliment. Number 6 is mastery of physiology. Learning how to manage emotions, learning how to challenge self-doubts, and learning how to push ourselves even when it's uncomfortable is about mastering our physiology. And if we can push through those hard situations, then we will be able to do that better in the future. What if you're a person that just says, well, I just don't care what other people think? Well, you have to assess that statement. Are you full of confidence and self-concept, or are you becoming apathetic and just shutting off all emotion? If it's because of esteem and efficacy, then you're starting to find a balance of what to care about and what not to care about. You remain whole while you care about the right things and avoid the wrong things. If it's just apathy, then you're just shutting everything off, and that's not recommended. Now, what happens if you get high in both? I have a few words of caution for you. You want to stay on the right side of confidence and not move to the ego stage. This is called meekness. Meekness is the main thing you are looking for. Superman was meek. He was formidable and unstoppable, but he did not abuse that power. A person learning martial arts becomes formidable and unstoppable, but also learns to control it. As your self-concept becomes stronger, as your self-esteem becomes high, as your self-efficacy becomes high, you become formidable and you become unstoppable. But please remain humble and teachable, and you will eventually inspire others to do the same. Imagine children growing up and being taught specifically how these 2 items work in their lives.
Let's take a break.
When we return, I'll give out the award for the best guest to all of our guests on
You Can Do Anything.